Two dingers for the Tribe last night, but it's Johannes Cespedes getting the big knock to prevail the Tigers over the Tribe. And tonight, a great pitching matchup at Progressive Field on a $1 dog and $1 Pepsi night. The Mud Hens get back into action and continue the roll as they head into the South to Durham, North Carolina, where the Raging Bulls of the Durham Bulls are in action tonight. Team USA getting a much-needed victory after a controversial yelling by the Colombian goaltender, getting a red card. We'll talk about that. Also preview the NBA draft, as well as all the NHL offseason news. And you said to me, if you're watching my program these few days, you said to me, Andy, I thought you're not going to talk about hockey. But when news breaks in the NHL, this guy always takes care of it. So sit back, relax. And by the way, I thought I forgot something. Oh, we're live today on Andy Alfred.
I've been listening to you, watching the same games you've been watching, but I have the nerve to say what's on my mind. It's time to listen. It's time to learn. It's time for Andy Alfred. Starting now.
Go get him, Tiger. Wow.
We're all behind our baseball team. Go get 'em, Tigers. World Series bound and picking up steam. Go get 'em, Tigers. There'll be joy in Tiger Town. We'll sing you a song when the Bengals bring the pennant home where it belongs. We're all behind our baseball team. Go get 'em. Go get 'em, Tigers. Yes, go get 'em, Tigers. A big win last night at Progressive Field.
We're all behind our baseball team. Go get 'em.
Go get 'em, Tigers. I'm glad I'm playing that song today instead of the other song. Indian fever.
It's catching fire with everyone. Indian fever. You can be part of the fun. You're the winner at every game. That's when the excitement begins. So catch Indian fever. Be a believer in the Cleveland Indians.
Oh, and a good afternoon. And I love you guys. And welcome to Andy Alfred right here on your exclusive home for me, a production of Clay Fan 2, 3, and hello, Mexico. I love you guys. Buenos dias. And welcome to Andy Alfred. I am your host, Andy Alfred, welcoming you into the Man Cave Studios and welcoming you into another edition of Andy Alfred as we are coming to you live from the beautiful live studios of Studio 71 in East Toledo, Ohio. And we got a lot to get into today, of course. The news breaking with the new assistant coaches in the Detroit Red Wing organization. We'll talk about that. Also, we'll preview the NBA 2015 NBA draft and some of the mock drafts. Also, the Women's World Cup as well, too. And we'll preview tonight's games for the Mud Hens as they go down to Durham, North Carolina to take on the Durham Bulls. And the Tigers will continue their road trip, and the Indians continuing their homestand against the Detroit Tigers and the Cleveland Indians for the Detroit Tigers. So let's talk about last night. And interesting game for the Tigers last night as the Tigers getting an 8-5 win over the Cleveland Indians. Johannes Cespedes having a breakout game, a 3-for-3 game with 3 RBIs in the game last night against the Cleveland Indians. A great performance on his part. Is he all-star worthy? I believe so. So Yoenis Cespedes, a big breakout game for him. His 10th home run of the season. David Murphy and Perez homer for the Cleveland Indians as Hardy gets the win for Detroit as the Detroit Tigers defeated the Cleveland Indians 8-5, scoring 1 run in the first, 1 run in the second, 1 run in the third, 4 runs in the fourth inning, and 1 run in the ninth. For the Indians, 3 runs in the third, and 1 run in the eighth, and 1 run in the ninth. The final line was 8 runs on 13 hits, 1 error for the Detroit Tigers. For the Cleveland Indians, 5 runs, 9 hits, 1 error. Hardy gets the win for Detroit. He goes now to 3-1 with a 2.61 ERA. Trevor Bauer gets the loss. He goes to 6-4 with a 3.86 ERA. For the Indians and Trevor Bauer went 3 innings pitched, 9 hits, 7 runs, all 7 earned, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts, and 1 home run. For the Detroit Tigers, on the hill last night, it was Ryan, 3 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, all 3 earned, 2 walks, no strikeouts. With his ERA is now a 3.91. And here's a kind of a pathetic thing. Game was delayed 10 minutes due to the rain that happened in Toledo on Monday afternoon. It came into Cleveland, disrupted the game for about 10 minutes. It was a 10-minute delay before we got underway in Cleveland. Game time is 3 hours and 27 minutes. 15,746 were in attendance at last night's game at Progressive Field. And so a much big win for the Detroit Tigers. Cabrera yesterday getting 2 hits in the game. His average is now a 350. Romine stepping up to the plate, 1 hit. He drove in 1 in the game. Iglesias, 5 at-bats, 2 hits in the game. His average is now a 325. The Tigers, a big win last night over the Cleveland Indians and some other scores around the major leagues last night. The Cubbies were a winner 4-2 over the Dodgers. Toronto 8-5 victors over the Tampa Bay Rays. The Minnesota Twins putting a shellacking on the Chicago White Sox 13-2. The LA Angels a 4-3 win over Houston, and Albert Pujols 2 home runs in the game, and he is on fire right now. Albert Pujols is starting to look like the Albert Pujols that he was in St. Louis. Kind of afraid of that. Kansas City a 4-1 win over the Seattle Mariners. And then here's the funny thing. The Philadelphia Phillies, 25-47 overall. They win 11-8 over the New York Yankees. Pineda gets rocked in the game. He now goes to 8-4 with a 4.25 ERA. Dinkelman gets the win for Philadelphia. He's now 2-1 with a 5.68 ERA. Gardner homered for the Yankees. McCann, his 11th of the season, but Franco homered for Philadelphia, his 9th of the season. So the Tigers and the Indians getting back into action tonight. On the hill tonight for the Detroit Tigers will be David Price. Price having a great outing the last time he was out. He'll take on Danny Salazar. That's a 7:10 start time on Fox Sports Detroit or on Fox Sports Time. And if you're not in the area, I mean, if you want to go, you can go to Cleveland. It's going to be an absolutely gorgeous night tonight. $1 hot dog night, $1 Pepsi night. And as I was checking it earlier, tickets are still available in the bleachers starting at $10 to $15. Behind the plate, it's about $25. Can't beat that. Pack the stadium, pack Progressive Field. If you're a Tiger fan, rock Progressive Field with Detroit Tiger fans. And I've been to Progressive Field when the Tigers played the Cleveland Indians. And I want to say this. Those fans from Erie come all the way around from Pennsylvania up into Cleveland to root for the Detroit Tigers. There's a lot of Tiger fans that make the trek to Cleveland because the ticket prices are so low. And then they have great promotions like tonight with the $1 Pops and the $1 hot dogs. You can easily get away with a $30 night if you're by yourself. A $15 ticket, $6 worth of hot dogs and sodas, and the parking, probably about $10, $15. Can't beat that. Can't beat that $30 to $35 night tonight at Progressive Field. The Cleveland Indians did make a roster move today. The Cleveland Indians recall Austin Adams from the AAA Columbus Clippers and have designated right-handed pitcher Scott Atchison for assignment in this for the Cleveland Indians. So he is now in assignment mode. So good luck to him. Let's see what happens with him. Tomorrow's game, 12:10 start time. We will be on post-game tomorrow, with it being a day game after a night game. It will be Carlos Carrasco for the Cleveland Indians on the hill. He'll take on the Detroit Tigers ace Justin Verlander at 12:10 tomorrow night. Thursday, it will be a 4-game series. The Tigers will open up with the Chicago White Sox. Carlos Rodon for the White Sox. He'll take on Alfredo Simon. On Friday, it will be Jose Quintana versus Anibal Sanchez. John Danks will get the start on Saturday. It's a 4:08 start time. The Tigers have not yet named the starter for that one. And then Sunday's game has not been announced yet for the White Sox. For the Indians, after this series against the Detroit Tigers, after Carrasco pitches against Verlander on Wednesday, the Indians hit the road. They'll take on the Baltimore Orioles starting Friday night. They'll have a day off on Thursday. It will be Corey Kluber on the hill for the Tribe on Friday. Saturday and Sunday has not yet been named by both managers from the Baltimore Orioles and the Cleveland Indians. Only Corey Kluber has been announced as the starter for Saturday's afternoon, for Friday evening's game. Other notable games happening in the major leagues this evening. The Yankees are taking on the Phillies tonight. Toronto is still in Tampa Bay. Chicago, the White Sox taking on the Twins. Kansas City is in Seattle tonight. That's a 10:05 start time for that one. Cincinnati is in Pittsburgh tonight. Baltimore is host on the road taking on the Boston Red Sox. St. Louis is in Miami tonight. That's a 7:10 start time for that. And Giancarlo Stanton picking up the votes in this draft. Is he all-star worthy in your opinion? Atlanta is in Washington tonight. You also have Oakland in Texas. That's Chavez versus Gomez. 8:10 tonight will be Milwaukee taking on the Mets. In Milwaukee, 8:10, it'll be Nice versus Flares. 8:40, the Arizona Diamondbacks taking on the Colorado Rockies. It's Kendricks versus Anderson. 10:05, it'll be Madu versus Wilson. And at 10:15 tonight, it will be Baumgartner versus Dispense. That's the Padres versus the Giants. You're watching all Andy Alfred here live on ClayFan23 and also on Google Plus and also on ClayFan on Facebook and on Twitter. If you can reach us on the program today, you can tweet the show. It is at all Andy Alfred. That is at all Andy Alfred. Make your comment, and a comment will be read on air, of course. And if you're watching this on a tape delay, post a comment underneath the show. We'll take your comment as well. Use the hashtag AAA Live. That is AAA Live. Hashtag AAA Live. Oh, so big series tonight and tomorrow. Can the Tigers pull the sweep over the Cleveland Indians, and can the Indians salvage 2 games out of this series? So last night, the Mudhens were not in action, of course. The Mudhens have a day off. They will, as they hit the road, they'll take on the Durham Bulls this evening in Durham. We'll preview that matchup here momentarily. But last night around the International League, here are some of the games that caught interest in our division, the IL West. The Mudhens, former opponent, the Columbus Clippers, took on the Norfolk Tides in Norfolk. If I can pull it. Gotta love live internet. Gotta love it. Sometimes it can work and sometimes it can't work. You know, and sometimes it freezes like it does. It does on this. Sometimes it can't. And it's like boom, boom, boom. Gotta love it. Gotta love it when you do this show live and you have incidents like this when the internet is going so unbelievably slow. But that's the name of the game. It's the name of the game. What you get when you do a show like this live in front of you fans. We'll actually preview the Mudhens first before we dive into what happened last night. Buck Farmer on the hill tonight for the Mudhens. He's 6-2 with a 3.56 ERA. 10s for Durham. is 4-5 with a 5.63 ERA. Game time for that one is 7:05 tonight on 1230 WCWA and iHeart radio station. Wednesday will be a 1:05 start time for the game. It'll be Thad Weber on the hill, 4-3 with a 3.77 ERA. He'll take on Florio for Durham, who is 7-5 with a 3.93 ERA. 1:05 start time for that one. So we'll have post games tomorrow on all Andy Alfred. And then Thursday, the concluding game of the series, is 7:05 start time. It'll be Diamond on the hill for Durham. He's 7-3 with a 3.14 ERA. It'll be Belfiore on the hill for Toledo. He is 3-7 with a 5.90 ERA. 7:05 start time for that one. The starters have not been named yet for this weekend series as the Mud Hens continue on the road trip before returning home next week to take on the Durham Bulls at Fifth Third Field. So last night in the International League, Columbus playing Norfolk in Columbus, and Norfolk will win 6-5. It was Broman gets the win. He's now 5-2 with a 2.15 ERA. Murata gets the loss for Columbus. He's 5-3 with a 2.79 ERA. Pawtucket loses to Rochester 3-2. The Rail Riders losing at home to the Louisville Bats 4-2. Roller, his 11th of the season for the Rail Riders. Axelrod getting the win for Louisville. He's 4-5 with a 4.31 ERA. Charlotte losing to Syracuse 2-1, and Indianapolis losing to Gwinnett 2-0. Games tonight in the International League on this Tuesday night. Of course, like I mentioned, Gwinnett is hosting Indianapolis. That's Richard versus Mermonson. 7:05 start time. It will be Harviland versus Hill in Syracuse as Syracuse takes on Charlotte. Lehigh Valley takes on Buffalo tonight. 7:05 start time. That's Gonzalez versus Wolf. At 7:05 in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, it will be Hand versus Rogers against the Louisville Bats. In Columbus tonight, it will be Roth versus Davies against Columbus takes on the Norfolk Tides, and Rochester takes on Pawtucket. It'll be Jake Peavy on the hill for Rochester. He will take the hill. Peavy, 0-0. He'll get his first start. He'll take on Couch, who's 3-7 with a 5.17 ERA. So last night, with the Mud Hens being idle and other teams in action, including Indianapolis losing to Gwinnett and Columbus losing, but Louisville winning, Toledo's 31-40, 11 games out of first place, 63 games from the elimination number. They're 4-6 in their last 10. Louisville is in third place. They're 35-36, 7 games out of first place. 67 games is the elimination for them. They're 4-6 in their last 10. Columbus is in second place. They're 39-33, 3.5 games out, 6-4 in their last 10. And Indianapolis still leading the division. They're 42-29, 4-6 in their last 10. They have lost the last 4 games. So Indianapolis is starting to get the slide, and the Clippers are starting to get a roll. Durham is in second place in the IL South. They're 39-32 going into tonight's play, only a game and a half out of first place of the Charlotte Knights, who are 40-30 and 7-3 in their last 10, and they're rolling right now as well too, and they're running into the teams that are really struggling right now in Syracuse and also in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, and not in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, and Lehigh Valley. So we'll see what happens with that tonight. Like I mentioned, the Mud Hens in action, 7:05 start time on 1230 WCWA and iHeart radio station. As you're watching all Andy Alfred right here on ClayFan23, presented by CarryTheFifthLine.tumblr.com. A lot to get into as well too. And last night in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, a beauty of a soccer game. I'll give you that credit. A great game. Caught the second half of it as United States defeated Colombia 2-0 in the game. Looking at some of the stats in this game for the United States, Abby Wambach missing a precious goal kick. Not a goal kick, but a penalty shot in the game after the Colombia goaltender went red card. Alex Morgan got on the board for the United States early in the second half, beating Colombia backup goaltender Stephanie Casino at the near post to give her team the lead. Carly Lloyd added another goal at the 65th minute of the game. Less than 2 minutes into the second half, Colombia's starting goalkeeper Carolina Perez took Morgan down on a breakaway run at the goal. The United States was awarded the penalty shot, and Wambach missed it. And Perez was given the red card, and that took Colombia down to 10 players, forcing the backup keeper Calisto to come into the game. On Calisto's first play after the match, she stared down Captain Abby Wambach, who stepped up to take the penalty shot, but sailed wide left of the post. And Morgan then capitalized with that. Megan Rampone was fouled in the penalty area at the 65th minute. Carly Lloyd stepped up to convert for the spot to make it 2-0. The United States moves on to the next round of 16. They'll now go to the round of 8. We'll see what happens, who they'll get in the next round of games. But the United States moving on to the next round. Tonight at 10 o'clock on FSN 1, it will be Japan versus the Netherlands. That will be the final game of the round of 16, and then the next second round begins. Right now, it will be the United States versus China at 7:30. That's Friday night. China will take on the United States at 7:30. The early game is Germany versus France at 4 o'clock. The host country, Canada, will take on England at 7:30 on Saturday. Australia gets the winner of Japan versus the Netherlands at 4 o'clock. And the winner of that game will play on the semifinal game number 1, and finalist number 2 will play on Tuesday the 2nd, and then the second semifinal game will be on Wednesday. The United States playing on Friday night, 7:30 first kick against the People's Republic of China. It'll be very interesting to see how United States will come out in this game. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens with China's offensive run this upcoming World Cup against the United States, because it's the United States and Germany are the only two teams that have made consecutive World Cup second round coverage of the second round of the Women's World Cup in the last 4 Women's World Cup. See what happens with that, and we'll preview those games, and we'll recap tonight's game tomorrow's post-game edition of All Andy Alfred. And hope that the United States does prove to win this game. They need to win this game. A proven fact. The United States has to win out. Because honestly, I'd like to see a Canada-United States Women's World Cup final. Wouldn't you? To see who has the bigger powerhouse right now. With Brazil gone, anything's happened. Anything's possible. You're watching All Andy Alfred right here on ClayFan23, presented by CarryTheFifthLine.tumblr.com. I am your host, Andy Alfred, coming to you from the beautiful studios here in Toledo, Ohio. And let's get into some NHL talks first before we get on. And big news out of Jacket Land first and foremost before we get into the other NHL news and notes of the day. Bill Zito has been named the new general manager for the Lake Erie Monsters, the new AHL franchise. Not the new AHL franchise, but the new affiliation for the Columbus Blue Jackets. It was named announcements today. Zito will oversee all hockey operations efforts in Lake Erie. The Blue Jackets and Monsters entered a multi-year agreement in April. I am honored and excited to take on the challenge, Zito says. I'm looking forward to working with the Lake Erie organization. Zito, who has been a member of the United States Hockey National Advising Board and at the 2015 IIHF, or the International Hockey Federation World Championships, in which Team USA won the bronze medal, has nearly 3 decades of experience expressing the number of aspects of the game. He joined the Jackets in 2013, has been an integral part in the club's management team in the areas of contract negotiation, player evaluations, salary cap management, and budgeting. And he's a native of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, graduated at Yale. I met him before. I met him at a conference at Nationwide Arena a while back ago. I do have a picture of him here, and one of the stock pictures, of course. let's see if I can pull it up. There it is, right there. Bill Zito is now your new general manager of the Lake Erie Monsters. So get ready, Cleveland. This is the guy that you're going to have to talk to if you don't like what's happening within the Columbus organization. Bill Zito, the new general manager of the Lake Erie Monsters. Very, very interesting developments. And then the Derek Lalonde watch is officially done. Billsma will not pick Lalonde to be assistant coaching him with him in Detroit. So that is officially done. The Detroit Red Wings Executive Vice President Ken Holland announced today that he has finalized the coaching staff under new Jeff Bilesman. Tony Granato and Pat Folsman will work behind the bench with Bylsma as assistant coach. Additionally, the former Detroit Red Wing and former Chicago Blackhawk player Chris Chelios will expand his current role as a team and join the coaching staff. Dan Boiler has also been named higher video head coach, and Jim Bernard will return for his 19th season as the goaltender coach. Granato, 50, returns to the Red Wings bench for the 2015-2016 season after helping the Red Wings extend its postseason run to 24 during the 2014-2015 season while reaching 100 regular season points for the 13th time in 14 seasons. Granato is bringing NHL experience to the team and coaching staff with 13 seasons in the league as a player and an additional 10 as an assistant coach. He's from Downers Grove, Illinois. Native begins his coaching career with the assistant in Colorado in 2002-2003. Granato was a compiled of 104, 78, 17, and 16 regular season record during his 3 seasons coaching, clinching a playoff berth twice and winning the Northwest Division crown in 2013 with the Colorado Avalanche. Broadwater also enters his second year within the organization alongside his new head coach, Jeff Bilesman, with the Grand Rapids Griffins in 2014. Bilesman helped the Griffins to one of the most successful seasons in franchise history with posting of a 46-22-6-2 record mark and advancing to the Western Conference Finals for the second time in the past 3 seasons. He's also worked alongside Bilesman during the 2010-2011 season with Western Michigan University. Also, Bilesman, a former Western Michigan Bronco. Chris Chelios has served as an advisor to hockey operations for the Red Wings since 2010-11 and has spent time at Grand Rapids mentoring the organization's young defensemen. He is now on the team as well, too. He had a long career with Montreal, Chicago, Detroit, and Atlanta, winning the Cups once with Montreal and twice with Detroit in 2002 and 2008. He was inducted in the Hall of Fame in 2014, 3-time Norris winner, and a 5-time NHL first-team All-Star. He totaled 948 points, 423 penalty minutes, and added a total of 144 points in his NHL career. He also has a gold medal and a silver medal in the Olympic Games. So new lines, new faces in behind the bench for the Detroit Red Wings. Other interesting news and notes going on also in the NHL as well too. The payroll has been increased. I will say this again. The payroll has been increased. So Yarko, right here, Yarko, you better sign Calvert. And I'm not talking Johansson money. Sign him. Because we need him. The NHL and the NHL Players Organization today announced the team payroll range established for the 2015-16 year pursued by the collective bargaining agreement provided for a lower limit of $52.8 million, an adjustment point of $62 million, and the upper level limit of $71.4 million. So what does that mean? That means the Jackets will have $52.8 million to play with, and the adjusted point could be for between 52.8 and 62.1 within the organization. So basically about $55 to $56 million for the Jackets going forward to this season in payroll for the players. And a lot of that's got to be eaten up by the Johansson, Foligno, and Bobrovsky pickup. So a lot of the players will have to make cutbacks in their signings. And I think with the Foligno signing, him going to captain, should be a little bit of a hometown discount going forward. You're watching All Andy Alfred right here on ClayFan23, presented by carrythefifthline.tumblr.com. If you have a question or a comment for the show, use the Twitter. It is at All Andy Alfred. It is at All Andy Alfred. And now let's get into one of the big things of the day. It's the NBA draft. Be taking place Thursday night in Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn, stand up! As the mock drafts have been, some of the drafts have been out. It looks like it's going to be Karl Anthony Towns going to be the number 1 overall pick, and Minnesota's going to pick him up. But Joel Olfador from Duke looks like he's going to be going to L.A. with the Lakers. But some notables, D'Angelo Russell probably going to go number 3 overall, starting guard for the Ohio State Buckeyes. He's going to probably go 3 overall, the Philadelphia 76ers. Some local teams, of course. Stanley Johnson, starting forward, he is projected to go 8th overall to the Detroit Pistons. Stan Van Gundy went out and got a solid stretch 4 option for Ilzino Alzadawa from the Bucks, but they could still use more depth and talent in the wing. Johnson would provide them a reasonable well and stretch for himself, and would be perfect an option for what the Pistons would want to do on both offense and defense. Indiana Pacers are going to pick 11th. They look like they're going to pick starting guard Devin Booker from Kentucky in this NBA draft. The Cleveland Cavaliers will pick 24th overall, and they're looking to get Justin Anderson, a starting forward out of Virginia. The Cavs will likely want to try to solidify the wings of this offseason with guards J.R. Smith and Ego Shumpert due to free agency. Anderson filling perfectly what the Cavs want to do as a potential 3 and deep player. He might work well with LeBron James and Kyrie Irving. The Lakers, having the 27th pick overall, they're going to pick Rashad Vaughn from UNLV, starting guard. Very key player for them. And they're going to have 2 draft picks overall in the first round of the NBA draft. Brooklyn getting the 29th overall pick. They look like they're going to pick Christian Wood from UNLV as well, too. And then the Golden State Warriors pick last. Terry Rozier, point guard from Louisville, is going to probably go number 30th overall. Detroit in the second round, looking like they're going to get Jakar Johnson out of Kentucky. And the Cavs going to pick 53rd in the second round. It looks like they're going to get Pat Currington, starting guard out of Notre Dame, better version of Joe Smith for the team that already has Joe Smith and could use more of a shooter on the rings. So first 2 round drafts, and then of course you have the supplemental draft after that, and so much more. But our focus will be the NHL draft starting on Friday, as it will be at the BBT Center in Florida. We will give you the NHL draft preview edition on Friday afternoon. We'll have 2 shows Friday afternoon. We'll have the live version of the show, will be done around 3:30, 4 o'clock, and then the NHL draft show, which will be done prior to the live edition of All Andy Alfred, because then you fans can watch and give you just a taste of what the NHL draft show is going to be about. You're watching All Andy Alfred right here on ClayFan23, presented by carrythefifthline.tumblr.com. So a big night tonight in sports, of course. If you're not going to Cleveland, go to Cleveland. You got time. It's 4:08 in the afternoon. Head out on the turnpike and head over to Cleveland. Take Route 2 as well, too. Head over to Cleveland to see this game tonight, Detroit versus Cleveland. It will be a 7:05 start time at Progressive Field. $1 hot dog, $1 Pepsi night tonight. David Price versus Danny Salazar, a great pitching matchup. Tomorrow, a 12:10 start time. Justin Verlander on the hill for the Detroit Tigers. And then the Mud Hens in action tonight in Durham, 7:05 start time for them. They'll take on the Durham Bulls. And then they have a 1:05 start time tomorrow. Tomorrow's show will be a tape show, of course, on Wednesday's edition of All Andy Alfred. It'll be a tape show. We will have the post-game version of the show. We'll recap tonight's games as well as tomorrow afternoon's games as well, too. It'll be mostly a getaway day in the world of baseball tomorrow. So we'll have all that for you tomorrow on All Andy Alfred. And we will also dive a little bit more into the NHL, as the NHL awards will be tomorrow night, and we'll preview those on tomorrow's edition of All Andy Alfred. And I hope you have a terrific evening. It's going to be a gorgeous night out. I think I'm going to get outside and get a tan really quick, go from a pasty white to Rico Suave, hopefully once in a while. And hopefully hopefully this white complexion can go tan. That's going to wrap it up for All Andy Alfred today. I hope you enjoyed this program. And as always, go Tigers! Go Tribe! Let's go Hens! And we are the fifth line in our fish shark fight. It's going to wrap it up for All Andy Alfred. And as always, I'm pulling for it. We're all in this together. Game of life. And to the teams behind me, and to your team that you root for at home as well. Victory is sweetest when you have tasted defeat. Have a good evening, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow for a taped edition of All Andy Alfred. But until then, remember, most importantly, I love you guys. Talk to you tomorrow. Love you, babe.
Indian fever. It starts on the very first inning. Indian fever. Each game is a brand new beginning. It's the hits, the homers, the double plays. It's how you feel when we win. So catch Indian fever. You believe.